In my hands, I have arguably two of the best irons of 2021 in a very fierce category that we're going to take a look at. So I'm going to test them, I'm going to put them up against each other, give you my personal feedbacks of the looks, the feels, and obviously the performance of these two irons. Okay, so the irons I'm referring to, we've got the Mizuno JPX921 Forged iron, and I'm putting that up against the Callaway Apex 21 iron. So two irons in that same sort of category, both have forged heads. Both are providing a really good look behind that golf ball, the feel, the performance, but also a little bit of forgiveness and the distance. So it's ticking a lot of boxes, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today as we test these irons. One brand has probably got a little bit of an advantage over the other, so we'll talk about that in a minute, so do stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to kick things off with the Mizuno. So JPX921, and it's the Forged. There's a family of JPX, this is the Forged. It's providing, as I mentioned, that beautiful grain flow forge that Mizuno are very renowned for, and as their strapline is, there's nothing feels like a Mizuno. Obviously, this is a very popular iron, I would say, in Mizuno's offerings because, as I've just reeled off really, it's good look, it's forged. We've got a cavity in there, so it's providing some forgiveness. We've got a little bit of a stronger loft, but nothing too ridiculous, so there's an element of power or ball speed that we're going to see. So as I think it does tick a lot of boxes for a lot of golfers. So down by the golf ball, nice blade length I think in this JPX. It's not too squat here, so if somebody's looking for that bit of confidence and spine down by the golf ball, I think this gives them that good feeling in a way, because there's a little bit of that length from that heel to the toe, tiny bit of offset, medium sort of top line. It's nothing too severe, but a very nice shape head, I always think, and a great feel straight away there. That wasn't flushed actually, to be fair. That was a little bit of that slight low toe, but it's done okay. And that's where I think for me, you know, a lot of golfers maybe looking to upgrade, you know, they're coming, or the game's progressing, the skill levels improving, the handicap's dropping, coming out of that, maybe that game improvement iron. So in the Mizuno category, maybe that hot metal. Thinking, right, what's my next iron? What can I move into that's going to give me a little bit of a need to compact, maybe a bit of playability. I want a bit of that forged feel. Maybe don't need all that big, thick top line offset, too strong on the loft. Those sort of ideas, really. And I think this is where these clubs for me are very popular. As I mentioned, it does tick a lot of boxes. That's a better strike. I've just pulled that a tiny bit, but that's lovely ball flat. I mean, that just, the feel's there. You know, we know Mizuno are renowned. They're very renowned for that ultimate feel of the club face. So that ball speed shot up there. Just swung that a little bit, tiny bit quicker, but really struck that one well. Same with that one as well. So this is 7/9, 31 degrees of loft. So, you know, it's that sort of middle ground, I always would say, that loft for this type of iron. You know, it's providing a little bit of a stronger loft for that bit of ball speed, bit of distance there, but it's not ridiculous, but at the same time it's obviously not more of that traditional maybe 33, 34 degree area. So a lot of golfers, maybe again, as I say, coming out of that hot metal golf club, maybe still wants that little bit of power there, but without the spin getting too low. Oh, again, that's just that little slight low toe strike. I can feel that. I get that feedback straight away. Yet when I look at that ball flight, it doesn't look dissimilar to the other two. I can know it's not going to be quite as quick with that ball speed and the distance, but the accuracy is there, and that's what I'm talking about. There's that element of forgiveness there, that cavity back. You know, obviously these companies do a lot of work around perimeter weighting, but you know, shoving it in some really important spots, which helps to increase that MOI and that forgiveness. So as I say, great shaping behind that golf ball. We've got that sort of very satin where the grooves are, and then just that slightly lighter satin. So there's no high polished chrome apart from the back there, which just gives it a little bit of class, I think. You know, we know Mizuno makes some really classy stuff. Yeah, feels superb. Really good feel, that little bit pushy on that particular shot. Okay, right, so there's a batch hit with the JPX921 Forged. Very good iron, very popular, and a lot of golfers like that iron, to be honest. Let's move into the Apex and see how that stacks up. Right, so Callaway Apex 21 iron, again, is a family of Apex. We've got the Apex MB, the pure blade, Apex Pro, the smaller hollow construction. We've got Apex 21, and then we've got Apex DCB, which is a little bit strong loft, bigger sort of offset, etc. So again, this sort of sits in the middle, very similar to like the JPX and their family. Again, it's a great looking iron, and for me, just popping that down a little bit more squat from that heel to toe in comparison to the JPX. Again, we've got a little bit of offset and maybe a medium to slightly thicker top edge in comparison with the JPX. But again, the shaping of the head is really good. It put down, we know we've got like a classy club. It's a bit of that better players look to it, but again, backing up with that cavity there. The loft on this 7 iron is 30.5, so there's only half a degree difference between that and the JPX, with the Callaway being just that tiny bit stronger, but literally not a lot. Oh, that's a nice opener. And again, a very good feel. So both fully forged, so we're providing that bit of that feedback that we sort of like to sort of, well, not everybody likes it, not everybody can feel the difference, to be honest, but I can definitely you know, that forged, I'm used to that, obviously, that forged sort of feel, that sound, the response from the ball as it leaves the club face. Ooh, just pulled a little bit. That's obviously more me than the club, but again, it felt good. It was a tiny bit low toe, seems to be a little bit of a miss at the moment. Well, today anyway, but again, it's not done bad. Okay, that was a better shot, a bit more on target. Again, felt great. Decent ball speed and good maintain of spin. So just stay tuned for a little bit longer into this video, because we're going to talk a little bit about the price between these two sets, and one brand has probably got a little bit of an advantage over the others. So we'll talk about that in a minute, so do stay tuned. I think the type of golfers these irons are really sort of aimed at is probably, I think it's a wide variety. You know, I could see sort of high handicappers using this iron and not being scared to use this iron. I think sometimes you put off a little bit because it's maybe Apex family is a little bit more of that better player sort of iron. But you do know, I see a lot of higher handicappers who strike the ball really consistent. All right, they might struggle a little bit with shape, that's more through the delivery, but they actually strike in the middle of the club face. They could cope with an iron like that, like this, no problems at all. And probably right the way down to a low single figure golfer. I've seen many of these in the bag of a low single figure golfer who maybe just wants that little bit of help with power, but you know, wants that forged feel, that nice look. Yeah, that's lovely. You know, for me, both really good irons, which is why I've sort of titled this, you know, two of the biggest irons of 2021. Definitely from what we see through our fittings, you know, it's an iron that a lot of people ask for and a lot of people like and enjoy hitting. Yeah, and again, it's coming out that very similar sort of window. It looks very predictable, very repeatable on that sort of ball flight, subject to my little indifferences of strike. Okay, right, so Apex 21 iron against the JPX921 Forged. Let's just check a few numbers out and then we'll talk about that. Maybe that advantage one of these brands has over the other. Right, okay, quick look at dispersion first. So the white is the Mizuno, orange is the Apex. You clearly see there front to back dispersion, and a little bit left to right was the Apex there. Quite a clear winner. Probably that looks to be a little bit consistent on that spin. We'll look into that a little bit more detail. So numbers there, you see 89, around that 89, both very similar. Ball speed pretty identical on average at 124. You see launch pretty identical. As I say, the lofts were only half a degree between them. You see just that little bit more spin maybe with that Callaway, and quite consistent on that spin as well. Again, obviously my strikes will play a little bit of that part. You see there's a bit of a low spinner there with the Mizuno. Might have hit that one, that might have gone that long left, maybe just pulled a little bit. Obviously that's going to drop a bit of spin, but you know, averaging at 6'1", 180, 178, so very different, not going to be a huge difference of that distance there, obviously because of the loft being pretty much the same, and you know, descent angle and everything like that pretty much the same. Just a little bit tighter with the dispersion with that Apex. So let's talk a little bit about price. And at the point when I'm shooting this video, I'm looking at prices. The Apex 21 iron is going to come in at £999 for a 7 iron set, okay, in steel shafts obviously, and then the Mizuno is going to come in at £1,025, so it's £26 more for the Mizunos against the Apex, so it's not a great deal between it. But I mentioned one brand has got a little bit of advantage over the other, and for me that is the Mizuno in the regards that they don't have any upcharges on different shafts and also grips, so you could have like a multi-compound, quite a high-end grip. They won't charge you any extra. You know, the shafts, tons of shaft options with Mizuno. I don't know with Callaway to be honest, but loads with Mizuno. And I think there might be one, I can't remember which one it is, but there might be one that has an upcharge. The others, there's no real sort of charge. So it's all in at 1025. Callaway, if you start putting extra grips on, you know, upgrade grips, you'll get charged a little bit more. Maybe certain shafts, most shafts will be within the price, but certain ones will be extra. Again, it just can bump up that price depending on the spec that you get fit for. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Comment down below, which is your choice, Apex or JPX921 Forged. Love to hear your thoughts, and we'll catch up with you all very soon.